Hey, welcome back to Cannabis in Canada with Jason Wilcox. It is January, February, March, April, May, June. Holy cow, that's 6 months. We're halfway into the year. June, going into July soon. It's almost my mom's birthday. Good evening to everybody, and do we have a complex topic tonight? It's very rare that Cannabis in Canada gets to cover stuff that we've been waiting on evidence, and in this case, people who have watched our show here and watched our reporting on from the day that this seizure happened to present day, where they admit, that there were 700 pre-packed bags in hockey bags in the back of a basically container or whatever that was seized at the airport. And I think it's this that we needed to talk about, just to finally prove that there is more than just a government-run medical program or a legalization platform that's just happy-go-lucky for all. No, there is some conspiracies going on in this country, and there has been police corruption covering up and suppressing information from not only my lawyer, Mr. John W. Conroy QC, who has also not forgotten about this bust. I always said to myself, it'd be ironic if this ever goes down, if John Conroy was to ever go against Canopy, because it would be Kurt Tusaw versus John Conroy. People versus the master, if you have it. But good evening to everybody. Without a doubt, this is one of the largest scandals to hit Canada in many days and in many years. There's the overall scandal of bringing in licensed producers. It was wrong. There's no justification for it. It was wrong. I'm hoping my audio, I'm hoping everything's coming through okay. If it's not, please let me know, because I don't have a sound check or anything here. I'm only hoping that I said everything right. That said, tonight's topic is something that no Canadian is going to feel right about. The RCMP suppressing information, 1 ton, again, of which only 300 pounds was actual plant material legally transportable under the MMPR regulations and the CDSA accordingly and respectively. And what we know is that it contravenes sections 264 and 261 of the CDSA, and I believe it also, I'm going off the top of my head here, I'm going to wait till we pull up the articles, but it also goes into the RCMP don't only say that it contravenes the CDSA, they go on to say it also contravenes the MMPR and the way that you're allowed to transport. See, what they were doing was they were coming to BC, buying 700 pounds of weed from us at bottom dollar in bulk, and then shipping it back to their little chocolate factory in Ontario and selling it to everybody. And it's going to get deeper. It gets very interesting, because when you actually do your homework and your research and you follow the media, legitimate media, not oh, sorry, I had a big dab earlier before the show started. Legitimate media that's out there pointing out and helping us to learn and know. And I always said this. I said this in 2014. I said this will be met with the utmost. At that time, it was like resistance, because it felt like they were suppressing the information. But then I learned that, like John said, they won't give us any information under the Freedom of Information Act, because they're saying it's an ongoing investigation. So I asked, why did it take 5 years to investigate? And if you were investigating for 5 years, then why are there no charges? And that is a serious issue for Canada, because if any of me or my motherfucking friends got caught with 1 ton of weed, shipping it across the country with paperwork and linking it directly to our companies, we'd all be going to fucking the penitentiary. 10 at least. 10 years. Now, you want to really know why they changed it? A lot of people don't understand. When this scandal broke out, when this bust happened up here in BC, it happened with Mettrum and it happened with Tweed. So Tweed did two things. Tweed bought out Mettrum, shut them up, bury everything, get everybody fucking shut the fuck up and buy it. So Linton, you're smart. Buy everybody out in Mettrum. And the other thing Tweed did is they were just about to go, or they had just released on the stock market exchange. So this bust would look really, really bad. So the second thing they did was change their name to Canapy Growth. Everybody says, oh, Canapy Growth acquired Tweed. Nobody, they didn't acquire Tweed. Tweed just changed their name because they couldn't be associated to this bust. They knew eventually these 900 pages were going to get out to us people, to the free people of Canada. And when the free people of Canada find out that you're ripping us off and that you're doing this, and this is a bigger conspiracy, and this is the founder, this is the one Chuck Raffishi, the chief financial officer of the Liberal Party, made his first million on. Remember the big guys? So all these dirty plays, they were under the guise of Chuck Raffishi and the Liberal Party and Canopy Growth. Now, they might want to say, and I'm going to bring this out tonight, I'm going to back up everything I'm saying here with media articles, and I'm going to show you where, in their own words, first they say that they phoned and got authorization. There ain't no way to get authorization. You don't get new regulation without first getting it passed and then legislated. So, they didn't just phone ahead and say they were going to be shipping 700 illegal pounds of cannabis across the country. All they did was abandon the shipment and somehow got the RCMP. And when you read the RCMP documents, and thank you to my administrator that was able to run out and grab that for me, fucking wicked administrator that's really good at finding shit fast. I couldn't find this one document. There's lots of reports on this case, but this one document really sets forth what Canopy Growth was doing. And we knew this was going on. See, being in BC and being part of the underground, you just keep your mouth shut, because I didn't want to see the guys going to jail or getting in trouble that were involved, honestly, with on the flip side, that were able to sell their cannabis. I was happy for them because none of us knew what was going on. Everybody's paralyzed. Everybody don't know what to do. So I get that. But this is something that now it was like fucking I didn't know what was going on then. All I know is that I know people with receipts. I know people that paid money that directly to Canopy Growth representatives. And that directly ties Canopy Growth to this conspiracy, whether they called themselves Tweed back then or not. Whether they already engulfed Mettrum as well, the only other person that was a co-conspirator in this particular bust. It's still 1 ton of cannabis, and admittedly now in these 900 documents, the officers even wanted to make a report, but they were told to shut up. They wanted to say, look, this ain't right. This contravenes both the CDSA and the goddamn act. This is not right. So Canopy Growth, I hope this comes down on you harder than ever. I hope that this is where karma sometimes, you Chuck Raffishi there, your founder, walking around with his profiteer shirt. Yeah, Chucky, I've never forgotten that. And I know it's between me and you, and it's not really a public thing. And but I don't like titans, and I don't like profiteers. And you're laughing in the face of medical patients as we were losing our licenses. So maybe this is a little swing back on you guys. Whatever it is, I said we weren't going to forget about it. 1 ton. That's a lot of weed. 1 ton of weed goes missing. Let's see here. I'll throw this over, and I'm gonna get my desktop presenter up here and working. Oh man. Huh. That's different. Can't seem to get it to work. Alright, hang on a sec here as I continue to figure this out. I'll find out why my desktop, or maybe it's just being really slow on me. I'm not sure. But then I'll pull into the articles, because it was back in April, I believe April 6th of 2016 or 2014 that this bust happened. And yeah, I gotta have this desktop presenter in here, that's for sure. So I gotta figure out why Oh, I see now. That would probably be why. And then also the other thing is we continue to go through. Oh man, I'm not sure why that's not picking it up. But that's frustrating as shit. Sorry, I'm just talking out loud to myself here as I cannot seem to grab my desktop presenter the way that I want to. I'm not sure what's happening with it. And I'm gonna have to figure this out. I know my computer's been running hot on me all day. I have put a lot of the articles, and I'm sure some of you have read it, so I'm gonna go into the comments for now. I'm not gonna really worry about this. We got an hour, and it's good to get this shared around. Let's see what we got here. Grab my desk. Hopefully my voice is coming through okay and not too loud. Yes, the airlines, if they were the ones that called the RCMP, it may have been because maybe an activist or somebody working there recognized that this was a very large shipment. It was going to Tweed, and that it did not mean that it shouldn't be a bunch of hockey bags in a container, that's not how you ship live plant material. You were supposed to be buying our clones. Let me set forth what the laws were at the time. What they were doing is they were telling us, you're going to lose your garden. You're shutting down your garden. This is before Allard injunction was in place. This is when we were still getting the paperwork together. They had every plan in the book, and they were buying our genetics. The thing was, if we sold them our genetics, they would turn around and grow it for us, and then give it to us, so that we always had a supply of our original genetics. Really, it was a genetic friggin' vault haul. They built a genetic vault off of us. They used us and basically manipulated medical patients to give up their strains, and people mailed them off for the lousy, $50 or whatever they were getting for their genetics. But licensed producers, some like Tweed, when they owned their chocolate factory, decided that they were going to come out here and buy 700 pounds of BC bud grown by BC growers, untested, unregulated, because they know it's safe as fuck. It don't need to be tested and regulated. But anyway, they come out here and they buy it from us, and they run into this problem. So I don't know what else to say other than this has been a catastrophe for Canada. The RCMP openly said that it had contravened, I believe it's sections. I think it says sections 2 things. Fuck, I don't want to be wrong on it either. Yeah, I got to get this working here for you guys to be able to see the same thing. But I'm sure you understand what it is that I'm trying to, I'm trying to nail down here. And without my desktop presenter, which I'm really not sure why it's not working. My computer's acted out on me before, but this is a different one. I'm just gonna keep. I'm gonna try to keep talking here, and watching the messages as well. But okay, the airlines, Jason Steele, you're right. The airlines called the RCMP at the time. And that was because they knew there was something wrong. There was somebody that called the RCMP. Whoever it was, it doesn't matter. What matters is that they knew there was 1 ton of marijuana being shipped by 2 licensed producers, 2 large ones at the time, across the country. And that it was loaded with illegal BC cannabis. And though I'm proud of our BC bud here, and I'm proud of the growers that were able to sell it, it's sad to see that the corporate monopoly had to buy from us, resell to the general public under a scandalous conspiracy, and then not get charged, somehow suppress the RCMP. I would love to know how they suppress the RCMP. Most people don't wade into these territories. Most people don't wade into these topics and say, hey, let's talk more about this. But you know what? I was part of a coalition. I was part of a group of patients that went on and took on the federal government. And we'll go on, we'll fight again if we need to fight again. And most importantly, we'll hold people to account, such as Canopy Growth. I mean, this is something that We can't change what's going on right now. I'm quite frankly disappointed. I don't know what else to say. You can be disappointed when you're when you're in these situations, because we have a lot to think about. You're right. It was 55 hockey bags, Jason. And I'm trying to get these articles up so you guys can actually read them, and you'll see just how deep this conspiracy goes. And the thing is the RCMP for 5 years, they denied 3 different Freedom of Information requests where we asked for paperwork about this case. And every time they said it's an active investigation, it's an active investigation. So they suppressed it for 5 years. Can anybody Google the statute of limitation for charges on having 1 ton of weed, transporting it across the country? Does anybody want to find out what that might carry for an average civilian? Just so we know what this corporation could face. Because they'll take the biggest hit on the stock market. All we have to do is expose the truth. Who is Canopy Growth? They're really Tweed. All they did was buy Tweed. They're not some new fucking LP that friggin' that merged or emulgated or engulfed Tweed. That's not how it happened. Tweed knew they had to change their name and distance themselves fast before this shit got fucking public. That's the reality. Add that one. See if that one works. Hopefully that'll come on. Oh, my computer's slow as hell, but I cannot get my desktop presenter to work for me. It's rather irritating. Without this, I can't really show you guys any of the other shit. I'm gonna keep watching the comments. Feel free to keep chatting in the chats, guys, as I go through this. I'm just trying to find out how to or why this would not be working. Yeah, I don't know why. This is the first time I've had any sort of problem with this one. So, extremely frustrating. And I definitely don't want to have to kill the show just to go back on the show, just to show the point that I'm trying to make. That's fucked up. Anyway, I'm going to keep it going and just jump off that. We're also, there's been a lot of talk about the recent SEC decision here in British Columbia. And yes, it didn't go in our favor. We don't win them all. That's just a reality. You know, a lot of people seem to think that every case needs to be won in order for the battle to be continued. The lawyers were already prepping for the battle to continue. And again, this is going to be another problem, is I'm not going to be able to bring this in. It probably has a lot to do with my CPU running at 90%. Fuck. I'm not sure what to do here other than I might have to jump off the air and back on the air. That's the only other thing. Hey, Mike, Coach, how you doing? Or we can just keep talking about Canopy. You guys have probably read the articles that are in there. I think some of the most telling tales was sorry, I'm just looking for where they quite frankly incriminate themselves by saying that they had it says here in this article that the company had invited the RCMP to come and inspect the shipment at the Kelowna airport Monday, the last day transactions could take place. So, of course, this was the very last day they could use their little pink slips and fly large amounts of cannabis from coast to coast. And with that happening, there's nothing else that could be done. Fucking, I can't believe my remote desktop presenter just has to act out on me. It's just like, man. I truly apologize to everybody, but I can't seem to be able to get these. I'm not going to be able to get these articles on. So without reading them in there, we're just going to have to just keep talking about them. Substance cannabinoids. 3 cannabinoids are liable for an indictable offense with a maximum penalty. Good job, Justin McLeod. Thank you. What's the statute, though? How long do they get? A maximum penalty of 5 years, but how long is it that the statute of limitation is how long before they can't be charged anymore? I'm sure it's a lot more than 5 years. So, you know, there's a reason why they've started to release this information now, and part of it is because, like I said, there's people in the chat that on both Facebook and YouTube that have said Canopy Growth engulfed, quite frankly, engulfed. Quite frankly, engulfed Mettrum, which was sort of true. Canopy Growth engulfed Mettrum, is kind of how it went down, and yeah, it just kind of went on from there. So, sorry, I'm just getting into the YouTube part now. It has been a rough jump to the start here. I'm hoping I can figure out why. I'm assuming it's just that I'm running way too hot with my CPU, and I don't know. I don't know what else to do with this particular situation, because I don't know how to fix. I don't know how to fix this. So what else can I tell you, other than I can just keep talking, and hopefully those lines don't follow me over. I can just keep talking and not have to worry about losing too much. I'm still trying to figure a lot of this stuff out. I truly apologize, but without being able to drag over these pictures, I can't do that. But what I did do is in the Facebook anyway, in the thread for this video, you'll see all the RCMP links. You'll see the statements, and I can certainly I can read these out. What's being said by different people about this. You know, the RCMP originally, they went silent. You know, in spring of 2014 is when this happened in Kelowna, BC. You know, they prepared a big drug bust, and I'm just looking for where they've pulled the right information here. I had all this stuff set out, but yeah, I have one here. I gotta find it again. I know who sent it to me, so I need to go find another Facebook account with that one and grab it. Oh man, I'm gonna not know where that is now. Shit. Jason, can you post up the link if you have it there for the Canopy Growth RCMP actual article? I think I might have it in here. Man, that's strange. But it is what it is. I don't know what else I can do. It's like they knew I wanted to use Desktop Presenter to build this case, but that's okay. Once I figure this out, it'll change everything. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else I can do. It should just work like that, and it's not. So there's not much else I can do. No, I don't know any of this other stuff. I am actually lost on this one. I'm trying to fix it on the fly, and I still know it doesn't matter. No, what I do, I can't do it. I've got a black box, and that's it. I really wish I knew this program better, but yeah, making pictures fly around ain't gonna do it. It's funny how that's not working today. But I will try this again on commercial break. I don't know why it's really don't know why it's acting that way. Anyway, I'll keep going through the articles, and we can also keep talking about the. To be quite frank, we can keep talking about the straight up. The irony in it, it's a little bit harder when I can't show you guys the articles, but please look into the chat area, and I'm sure the chat says, if any of the administrators, can you please post the different RCMP articles into the chat for people to be able to read, both on YouTube and Facebook here, because that makes it a little bit easier for people to be able to read what happened in 2014, when I said even then this will eventually get dealt with. And now is an opportunity for us to say, okay, look, we can take this to the next level by really going after the people that did this, which is Canapy Growth. Canopy Growth is Tweed. So going after them by virtue of evidence. I don't know what the statute of limitation is for charging them. So they may have suppressed this information for 5 years, because maybe the statute's only 5 years. I doubt it. I know guys who've been chased for marijuana charges much longer than 5 years. So, my guess is, and again, we're talking about a ton of weed. When I say this, I'm saying this because I know there are people who have had to take these kind of risks. So to know that some suits move into town, get a ticket from the government, abuse that ticket, and take 700 pounds, get caught by the RCMP, and the RCMP say it contravenes sections 261, and I can't remember the other section of the CDSA that it contravenes. Either way, that suggests a charge. So then when you go to look for the information, well, what was actually in there? What was the actual breakdown of what was in the container? And what we learned about what was in the container was 700 pounds in hockey bags. There was a bunch of hockey bags filled with, just like we would do old school here in BC Underground. Hockey bags of hockey bags of hockey bags of cannabis, prepackaged, ready to go. So for me, this is something that really it matters to everybody. Because if we don't look at this and say, hey, the RCMP back in 2014 said this was a breach of the law. Nobody got charged ever. Again, 700 pounds, of course, it would involve a lot of people, a lot of receipts, but there was paperwork and documentation on every single fucking so-called purchase of live plant material. They claimed they were just traveling with 700 live plants, I think, or something. I don't have the exact numbers here. They were that was their original claim. And they also, what's worse is that Linton, who's really the big chief guy down there at Canopy Growth, Linton at the time was the head of Tweed, and he said that he had given notification that they were planning on doing this in advance. So it's almost like incriminating yourself in the news. It's like, dude, you already went and said that you told Health Canada you were going to ship dried flowers in bags ready for distribution to your Hershey plant to sell to patients, which goes against everything. Again, it contravenes sections 261, and I can't remember the other section of the CDSA and the MMPR. I got to find this article. The article is posted in Facebook in the comment section, and you'd see which sections. Somebody maybe can post it and correct me on exactly which section that is. I'm not going to be able to get the John Conroy letter over either. What I'm going to do is actually post, the John Conroy letter is posted. I'm going to post it in YouTube from our friends there. Here's the John Conroy letter I was going to go over with you guys, but it's easier anyway. This will help me not have to worry about emails and all that other stuff. There's always a way to get around some, when there's a problem. But I tell you one thing, persistence pays. And when you're going through changes in your life, the one thing you want to do is always stay persistent with what worked. And if it worked in the past, it should work again. Oh. All right, so we got this one, and I said that was going to YouTube. So here you go, guys, on YouTube. This is from John Conroy. And this is an important one. I believe it's too long. It's way too long. Shit. All right, so much for that idea. I guess I can break it up into fucking parts. It's crazy. So I'm just sending this out, people on YouTube. I apologize I have to break it up like this, but it's the way it's what they're doing to me. I can't really stop YouTube's YouTube's counter for what they allow and what they don't allow. It's still way too many. Now I fucked it all up. All right, fuck it. I can't do it that way. I apologize. I did try. But that one I can't. There's nothing I can do about that. I'm willing to bet on a restart that my desktop presenter would work, no problem. I'm almost wondering if we should go to a break and then restart this. But good call, Alberta Bud Girl. We would get our livelihood thrown away. And this is what I say. This is my problem, and why people are wondering, well, why does this guy want to see someone get arrested? Well, it's not someone. It's a Titan company, corporation that came into our country, helped to try to lobby against home growing to the degree that the police and the fire chiefs and Health Canada all lied, even on the stand. We got our money back. Don't y'all remember the Aller trial? The documentary is coming out soon, so you guys will understand more then. It'll tell you the truth about how we got to where we are. But these sorts of conspiracies, these are our opportunities to expose people. You want to hurt these guys? You want to hurt these titans? You hurt them on the stock market. You associate them to what they were and what they did. They can't just say, well, it was 5 years ago and the laws were changing and it was confusing. No, it wasn't confusing. You knew you couldn't buy friggin' dry weed from us and then sell it on the recreational market. There was no ticket or law or regulation that allowed you to do that. That's just bullshit. So, call a spade a spade. But we as a country, one angle is to look back at how to go after these people. This is how we can do it. The John Conroy letter for friends on YouTube, you can see it on the Facebook thread if you're interested, on my public figure page there. There's nothing else I can do. They actually restrict you to only 200 points. And I do believe it's also up on my website. One sec here. That would probably be a smarter idea, because if it is, then I can just point you there. I believe I asked it to be put up, but we'll have to see if it's up yet here. And Canada blog. Yeah, John Conroy. Okay, so here I can give you guys this link. Okay, here you go. Here's a link right from my website. I didn't know my webmaster got it up that fast. I know I thought he had said he did. So I'm going to throw it in here. You guys got it on Facebook. Bam. Again. But this is off our website this time. A little bit different. And then we'll go over to YouTube and we'll pop it in here. So if you guys are wondering what I'm talking about, the John Conroy letter, what's happened here in BC is we've had a change of the guard, if you have it. We lost in court, and Mr. Conroy, if I put out the full letter, he sets out, this is what we're going to do if we lose X, Y, and Z. And what I mean by that is if we lose X, Y, and Z, is if we lose the SCC case, what comes next? What are the arguments against the Cannabis Act of Canada that are sustainable and that we're going to go after? What are the arguments going to be? And for us, we came up with, well, at least with John, he's come up with a few for dispensing of cannabis because it omits medical patients. But it also omits medical patients in a host of other ways. The opportunities for co-ops and non-profit societies that every other medical aspect of Canada has. If you have MS, there's an MS society. If you have HIV, there's an HIV society. If you have cancer, there's a cancer society. There's a society for almost everything. Those are all non-profits. So why can't we have a non-profit and serve ourselves and go around the government act? As long as we're not making money. If it's not about the money and if it's truly about the plant, then nobody really needs to make money. They just need to cover their internal costs, and that works within the society and within the bills and within the legal laws set forth in the framework of provincial governments across the country. But yeah, I really don't know what else I can say at this point. I'm definitely going to redo this show and be recovering this a second time. We've had a few different. There was Lift this weekend in Toronto, and a lot of people are just recovering from that. Great job at the after parties for Green Planet and others. There was just a lot going on in Toronto. And we're happy that we have our cameraman down there filming for us, and we're going to have some footage for you guys soon enough of Lift 2019 or Toronto. We've already brought you Lift 2000 Vancouver. So this now leads us to, again, I'll put a lot of this stuff, I guess only one article or one link I put in there for the National Post about Canopy Growth. But you'll also see the 1-ton seizure. And these things are important. It doesn't seem, no matter where I go, I can't seem to find that one piece that I want. But if you guys can find it, you'll see that that there is a huge factor with Canopy Growth, and the direct link to the 5 years that it was suppressed. Again, I wanted to show you guys with this paperwork, and I almost want to reset my computer to try this, and I might do that at the 1 hour mark. Actually, I will do that because I need this. I need this this other thing to work. This other part of my program, or I really can't show you what I'm trying to show you without just putting a bunch of articles and saying read them. But within these articles is embedded evidence. The RCMP is saying exactly what it contravened. You know, what did this actually do? You know, it's something. It goes on to say Linton speculated the RCMP seizure may have had a result of confusion because of the overlapping regulations. This is once again the cop-outs that they would do. Now, if this is one of our own people, it would be completely different. But if it's going to be a big titan moving, you know, this kind of volume across the country, then you know, it becomes a question of who's gonna do what, and if anything, somebody should investigate, you know, the Smith Falls RCMP. I believe it's Smith Falls anyway. No, sorry, not Smith Falls. The Kelowna RCMP detachment that allowed this information not only to be suppressed for 5 years, but for no charges to come out of their investigation, if the investigation took that long. It says here, Sergeant Duncan Pound, an RCMP spokesman in BC, refused to comment on the reason for the seizure. That's another big issue. Just a big shutdown on the reasoning for the seizure. So again, you got to remember, Tweed just abandoned this. Now, a lot of people aren't going to care. So what? They abandoned it, and I'm with you to a degree. Really, so what? It is what it is. We're gonna actually break off from this. This is getting to be a dull topic now, and let's jump into some cannabis talk. I'm gonna do a dab. I'm gonna have a break here. I'm gonna grab out a cannabis plant and point my camera down at my cannabis plant and show you guys kind of where it's at, because it's an interesting one. I just bred it this year, and it's the first time I've really grown it out. And yeah, I bred it for Vicky actually, for a higher CBD plant. But anyway, let me pull it out, and we'll see you guys in about 5 minutes. If a couple of these repeat, I apologize. Just bear with me. I will be back. Wow. It's not even letting me switch this out. I gotta get a stronger computer, I think. Weird. No, I don't know what to say at this point. I can't get. There we go. Okay, I see. Maybe it's just that I'm stoned. Who knows? Anyway, we'll see you guys in a couple of minutes.
Criminal law business, we raise charter issues all the time, but they aren't public interest issues like this where you're taking something on behalf of a group to establish something that's going to impact the entire country.
In your opinion, then, I guess, from a layman's standpoint, substantial amenities was awarded for trial costs.
Indemnity, substantial
Sorry,
indemnity.
I never said it right, but
Yeah.
so funds were awarded. How historic is that to get that much money back in a constitutional challenge?
Oh, I couldn't give you statistics on it, but I would say that the whole development of public interest costs is a fairly new area of law as well, and there haven't been that many. But if you take a case aimed to justice, and taking into account all of the funds that have been raised by the coalition, and we were able to essentially get 80% of our costs out of the government, and the balance raised by the coalition, so that everybody was paid, pretty close to at least 90%, if not 100%, which was fantastic. From the lawyer's point of view, we weren't expecting that to happen, but it was good and great that it happened, because even though it was, several years later and all the work had been done over a long period of time, and you have to sort of keep your offices going and your overhead covered as you go, it was good to then be able to get back into a solid situation, having spent all of that time doing that, and importantly, help develop the law in the future for other public interest cases, so that they can point to this as because legal aid is terrible because of lack of government funding. They've just stopped funding immigration cases, for example, when there's a huge demand with all that's going on in the world in terms of refugees and so on. And they did it because they don't have the money, because the feds aren't giving them the money to do it. We have people representing themselves in first-degree murder cases because legal services tells you you have to do this or do that. So creating the public interest cost thing enables people to say, well, we can take public interest cases and eventually get paid for what we've done as a way to try and make the world a better place, Canada a better place.
So that's I'm really I have a few.
Okay, I guess I brought myself back sooner than I wanted
We
to.
have people representing themselves in first-degree murder cases because legal services tells you you have to do this.
Okay, I'm just making sure the audio is still lining up. I'm having a hell of a time fighting with my desktop presenter here. Either way, I've been able to pull a plant out for you guys quickly and just kind of put it there. And I'll spin a light around here and just use a secondary camera. That should be working for me anyway, which isn't working for me. There we go. Ha. Alright, you guys should be able to see that, I think. Pull up Wirecast here, just bear with me. Alright, so there's one of the plants, and I think that I should be fine. You guys just have to follow with me. I can only do so much with this microphone. But I'll raise my voice up and flip this light around and down. Turn it up. Hopefully not draw too much attention to myself. Anyway, yeah, with this one here, you can see down here really old, basic plastic pocket to suck it in. But it's got about a quarter, size of a quarter when you look at the stock. And I got a bunch of dry shit here that I gotta pull off. I just pulled her out. She's beautiful watering tonight anyway and feeding. But yeah, a lot of this lower shit you normally get rid of. And most of it I had gotten rid of, and it's just a small cluttery stuff. You don't really want it because you can't get the air movement down here, and you end up getting nothing but mildew or mold. But when you look at these up here, this is kind of what you want when you're looking at what do you want for starting out, because each of these branches independently, if I pull them out, you can see how they're all going to be long buds by just how close the internet spacing is for each one. So that's just going to be 1 bud, 2 buds, 3 buds, 4 buds, 5 buds, 6 buds, so on and so forth. And we've got, I think, five terminal branches. So as they get heavier, they'll get staked up and put up the way that they need to be accordingly. So hopefully you guys can hear me, and yeah, that's an important part of it. But you can see how healthy she is. And the funny thing is, the smell and the terpenes are just starting to break out. And this is a really stinky plant. It'll actually purple off in the end. And right now, I wish I could zoom in here and actually show you guys that it has purple in the. I guess you can't see it. It's too bad. There's like pink in the pistil line, like in these little pistils here. There's pink and stuff. I guess you can see a little bit in that one right there. There's actually pink in there. And again, healthy veins. I often talk about this when you're in flower. And again, this is just one plant in a tent, along with a bunch of other ones. So, anyway, I try to do that once a week, give you guys an update of where they're at. I find it interesting, the pink that I'm seeing in here. And in here, I'm going to get some 4K pictures and get them up on Instagram, because I think people will find that interesting, that's for sure. Somewhere around there. Be surprised at how important lighting is in all this crap. Alright. Spin this around. I'm gonna mess in my own messy studio. Alright. So, okay. Let's get out of here. Let's get back onto our main cam. And hope that the batteries last. Oh, that don't look so good. That looks ugly. I guess it looks good to you guys. It looks ugly to me on here because I'm seeing the real colors. Anyway, guys. Yes, we gotta get it shared out to a bunch of different places. A little cutaway there I showed you there of John Conroy. The reason I did that was because again, not only are we launching this, or not only is he, again, I can't speak for John. I can only say that I knew he's working on a case. My shout out is more to Mr. Dana Larson. Sorry, one sec. I have a lot of cleaning up to do on those plants, man. I'm glad this show's coming to an end. Alright. Anyway, yeah. That's just kind of where those plants are at. I'd show you the Alaskan Thunderfuck, but I don't really want to be pulling that out right now. Tonight's show was fundamentally geared towards Canopy Growth action. And then, of course, there's my inability to get my remote desktop presenter to work for me. I don't know what else to say on that one. Video's 30 seconds ahead of audio. All right, I'm going to reset my computer. I'll be back on.